Hello guys, hope you're all doing well. Today I've gathered up some interesting snippets from around the gaming world that I thought you guys might find interesting, and also a bit of an update before I head off to EA Play and E3. So there's quite a lot of interesting gaming news floating around the internet this week, but let's start with something brand new. Project ARGO. I say it's brand new, but in fact it's been in development since November last year. But alas, what on earth is Project ARGO? Well, it sounds like some sort of government experiment, if you ask me, and also a pretty good Ben Affleck movie, but it's not. It's actually a standalone total conversion of Arma 3. With ARGO though, the game is centered around two teams of mercenaries who fight over objectives in a 5 versus 5 matchup, very different to Arma 3. It's designed to be a competitive, small-scale Arma 3 game. What's crazy is that you can actually play it in its prototype state right now, thanks to something called Bohemia Incubator. Bohemia's Incubator label provides access to the early stage of games, prototypes, or games that are simply work in progress for people to test. Think of it like Steam Early Access, but with the possibility of games being in a much earlier state. You can go to the website right now and it will allow you for free to add the Project ARGO prototype to your Steam and you can give it a go. In fact, you've been able to do that for a while, but now the game has a full release date of June 22nd, and yes, it will be available on Steam for free. Apparently, the goal of ARGO is to have a condensed down armor action game with an authentic feel and lethal combat. You aren't going to be taking a whole magazine of ammo in this game. Make one mistake and it could cost you. With that in mind, it looks like it's going to really promote you and your 4 teammates to work together. And if you can imagine that you're playing on a map with, let's say, a small town in the center and you've got to progress through it, I think that could end up being really tense, knowing that one bullet could end your life. And I think a game like this has a very specific audience, but maybe this will take what's good about Arma 3 but simplify it and some of the controls and condense the action down to cut out some of the boring parts. I'm certainly going to give it a go, and you should too. Next up, merchandise. I've only ever officially sold one t-shirt through the Jack Frags brand in nearly 6 years on YouTube. It was that limited edition Guns logo tee that we put together, and then we did the ugly Xmas sweater at Christmas last year. With that said, I always get people on Twitter and in the YouTube comments asking for more stuff, and I'm always reluctant to do it because I want it to look good and I don't just want to spam t-shirts out there. So I've been working with my network and we've put some cool design ideas together, and they're now online in a store if you wish to purchase some official Jack Frags merchandise. There's a couple of designs on there, t-shirts and sweaters, keeping it simple. I want them to be something that you'd actually wear out and about rather than just at home, for example. And if you're interested in those, you can find all of them at bit.ly/JFshop, which I've also linked in the description below. Now, as well as the stuff that's on there at the moment, we're thinking of adding a JF snapback, which you can see here, and also a gold leaf t-shirt. So let me know what you think of those designs and ideas, and if you've got any feedback on them, that would be much appreciated. Thank you very much. So now, moving on back to some gaming news, it seems that we've had our first look at the new protagonist for the next Assassin's Creed game, which is due out in this fiscal year. So sometime before March 2018, but more than likely the end of this year. A few weeks ago, a supposedly legitimate screenshot appeared on Reddit of an Assassin's Creed style character on a boat holding a bow. Now, a t-shirt has surfaced on the Facebook page of La Verita del Animus, and it appears to show the same bow wielding character but with a name this time, Bayek. Pretty interesting. The new game is rumoured to be set in Egypt, but I'm sure that we'll get our first glimpse of it at E3, which is just around the corner. More on that later. Now forget Egypt for a second, instead let's take a trip to the moon. Well, not exactly, but if you play Overwatch, and specifically the test environment for Overwatch, you can do just that. Blizzard have recently added a brand new map there called Lunar Colony to the PC test environment, and as you can expect from Blizzard games and Overwatch itself, visually it looks fantastic. I haven't played much Overwatch really since it released, but maybe a trip to the moon can entice me back for a few games. Next, remember all of the hype around the Call of Duty 4 remaster. Last year Activision announced that they were remaking our beloved Modern Warfare and re-releasing it with upgraded graphics. Everyone rejoiced until it was made clear that you had to buy Infinite Warfare to get it, and even then a slightly more expensive version. That made a lot of people unhappy, and probably rightly so. They made it clear that it wouldn't be released as a standalone game, and they clearly wanted to beef up the sales of Infinite Warfare with this move. But as many people expected, as the sales push for that game dies down and we're all in a lull waiting for the next Call of Duty World War II, they're actually going to release the remaster as a standalone game. That is, if you believe all of the listings that are popping up, which I do, and the listings suggest a June 20th release on PS4 and a later release on Xbox, and it seems like a smart move from Activision. I imagine that a lot of people who passed on it last time because of the requirement to pick up Infinite Warfare will try and grab the game now. It never really felt like the original to me though. I can't quite put my finger on it why, but the multiplayer just felt a little bit off. And lastly for today, Operation Health, I'm talking about Rainbow Six Siege. This season there isn't going to be a new map or new operators, but instead Ubisoft is now focusing on improving the game as much as they can. I think that they know it's got issues and they've got to be dealt with. As such, the latest patch is currently in testing on the test servers, and it brings with it a host of updates, some of which are very much needed indeed. One-step matchmaking is one of those things, the ability to go through the menus, change loadouts and do other various things while searching for a game at the same time, a welcome change. And that's nothing though compared to the hitbox changes which are coming. If I asked you what part of the body should be included in the hitbox of a player, I imagine that you'd say, well, the obvious ones like chest, arms, legs and head. I doubt you would say, well, how about the headphones that a player is wearing or the pouch clipped to their side, for instance. Now that wouldn't make much sense, would it? Well, sadly, that's how the hitboxes currently work in Rainbow Six Siege, but this patch aims to clean them up and ensure that hits will count only on body parts and not on equipment. But arguably the biggest update in this health operation is an improvement to spawn killing. Ubisoft have been working on a number of areas where this is a real issue, and it's an issue that I've always had with the game. Chalet, Canal and Consulate have had the first main focus, but they admit that this is only step one and there's much more to be done. I personally would like to see more done to people running outside as well. It's a controversial topic in the Rainbow Six Siege community, but one that really annoyed me when I was playing the game every day. I think it should be fine to be able to push outside as a defender, but I'd like to see the spot be instant for the attackers and not after a few seconds when the damage has already been done. It should be a big risk reward thing really, and at the moment you get enough leeway that you can pop out, get a kill or two and pop back in without being spotted. And this patch will also see the introduction of alpha packs, essentially loot crates that drop and reward you with cosmetic items. So that's about all for today folks. I will be travelling to EA Play very soon after I release this video, and keep an eye out on the channel from like 8th of June through to the end of E3, which will be the 15th for me. There's going to be a load of new videos during that time period and live streams, all new games, all gameplay that I'll be capturing myself over in Los Angeles with impressions and information. As it stands, I'll be capturing gameplay footage from around 10 new titles, so it's going to be a very busy couple of weeks for me whilst I'm out there, and I wanted to say thanks once again to you guys for sticking around and always coming back to watch my videos. You make all of this possible for me, and I'm still having an absolute blast making content. So I'm going to sign off there guys. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, a thumbs down. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.